Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. What's going on, beautiful people? Today is Monday, November 24th, 2025. We are winding down the year fastly, faster than you could say Happy New Year. Faster than you could say Happy New Year. Oh man, it is moving really, really fast. And I went to the mall on Saturday to just get my eyebrows threaded, nothing crazy. And it was like Black Friday already in there. I had to get out as soon as I possibly could. It was crazy. It's like I was talking to a friend about how it seems like people are frantically shopping like it's the last days before Christmas. It's wild, it's really wild out there. But I guess because a lot of stores are starting their sales early, people are trying to take advantage of it, get the good stuff while they can, I suppose. But it was wild. So needless to say, I'll be doing all of my shopping online for the most part, because it just being in the mall and under that frantic energy, it kind of killed the spirit of shopping for me, honestly. Or I'll be shopping during a weekday when most people aren't, which is my preference anyway. But just a warning to you all, if you are planning to be physically shopping, arm yourself with the highest vibration proactively, because it's weird out there. I don't know how to explain it, but it's very weird. And as someone who worked retail, I would never completely discourage anyone from patronizing your favorite stores. However, again, I would suggest you do it at a time when it's a little less crowded, for your own personal sanity and to preserve the Christmas spirit for you, or the holiday spirit for yourself. Otherwise, it could be corrupted pretty quickly. All right, anyway, let's see what we got here today. Oh, my phone's going off at 12:28. Hold on, that's a message. Let me just make sure it's nothing important. I don't think so. Oh, wait, hold on. That's my nail tech. Okay. Alrighty, sorry about that. Because as you will be able to tell, my nails are definitely in need of some care, some tender love and care, but that's neither here nor there. Just had to make sure it was locked in. Two of Pentacles. What's the Two of Pentacles about? Some decision on hand, or some balance, some energy to be balanced. I did do a pre-shuffle, and I saw some significant energy, but I decided to just start fresh. But let's see what we got here. Somebody's protecting their energy, maybe protecting their resources. Guarded. Two of Pentacles, and then the Seven of Wands. It feels like for some reason, it feels like a contradicting energy to me, because the Two of Pentacles is usually kind of like, how can I say, like juggling between two frequencies, maybe not just two, maybe more than two, but it's not really the most grounded and balanced energy. But then I have somebody here that is appearing to be standing their ground and standing pretty firmly on something. And if the protection is on that Two of Pentacles, it's like, I don't know, like maybe somebody's protecting what little they have left. That's what I'm hearing in a strange way. Like they only got 2 pentacles and they're guarding it with their life or something like that. Again, but okay, got it. This could be very practical, but it could also be energetic. I'm not sure. It's like they owe a lot of people, or a lot of people are looking to get a piece of something that's owed, get some type of, it's like it's like a whole lot of hands out, but not very much resource or money to go around to pay everybody. So this is beyond just Peter and Paul. This is Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, Mike. Like everybody has their hand out, like, you owe me. Well, he owed me money. He owed me money. You owe me money, or owe me a favor, or owe me, you promised me this or promised me that. It's like maybe somebody stretched themselves thin on some expectations or some promises or some type of debt situation here, but it doesn't have to be exclusive to material or financial. Again, like, it could be energetic, but there's something that someone is indebted to that they are not able to pay. This could even just be in their personal life where they have a whole lot of expenses, but not a lot of money to go around to pay. Like, there's just no way everything can get paid with what they have on reserve. Yeah, something like that. Let's say, ooh, Lord. And it's, wow. So the 7 to the 5, even more of a regression, because it's just like it's relentless. What's the right word? Like demands, or like debt collection or something like that. It's like, this is a lot of energy to hold your ground against. It's becoming, what it feels like is it's becoming more and more aggressive. Yeah, like more, almost to the point of violence. Even, perhaps, or on the verge of it. Like on the verge of people fighting, like not taking it very lightly. Whatever they feel like they're out of or they're owed, they're not taking it on the chin. It's not like, oh, all right, well, get it to me when you can, or I'll catch you on the next one, or whatever. Or there's no forgiveness here for whatever this debt is. It's becoming more and more of an insistence for repayment, or some type of payment. Not even, I was about to say payment plan, but that's the lack of grace here. That's like, nobody's even willing to give leniency for some type of like payment plan or gradual repayment, because everybody feels so entitled to having what they were promised or what they're owed immediately. It's like, it's my money and I want it now. Type of energy. And all of this, that's kind of, again, it's all being directed. All of this energy is being directed toward me. And you know what I'm saying? Even though it's kind of like a backwards progression or regression, but I'm feeling like at first people were kind of fighting amongst themselves about who owes what, who did what, who's at fault, who, like this power struggle here. And then ultimately it's like everybody's like, hold up, wait a minute. Why are we all fighting each other? he's the one we should be going after. Like that type of energy, like all of a sudden everybody turns toward one person, like, get him. Oh my God, I'm having all these images in my mind. It's kind of funny. And the thing that's missing between these two is the Six of Wands. There is no, what's the Six of Wands? Isn't it? Six of Wands is victory, isn't it? Yeah. Like there's a great loss here that nobody's really willing to absorb, is what it seems. These people, because they feel justified in what they're owed, and this person because they only got 2 damn pentacles, and damn it, I gotta eat, I gotta live, I gotta survive, you know, like I got bills to pay, I don't have it to give to y'all. Like they just don't have it physically, so they're not willing to absorb total despair and poverty, to giving up 2 pentacles to an angry mob such as this wouldn't really take a lot of pressure off their back, because it's not even going to satisfy all of the debts that they owe anyway, and they won't be able to, you know, manage their own livelihood or something, or, you know, they won't be able to do what they need to do for themselves for survival's sake. So that's why they're so guarded and defensive, maybe even making excuses or trying to, you know, fight off the aggression for more time. And it seemed like at first it was working for them to have people kind of fighting amongst themselves, while maybe they try to like fade into the background. It's giving like that Homer fading into the bushes effect, like nobody sees me, just back out slowly. But suddenly everybody turns to him like, where you think you going? Oh man. All right, let me see what else. Chariot with the 2 of Pentacles out again. Damn. This is like this. I feel like this is like a strong, like I said, a strong opposition. This may even be the authorities getting involved. Yep, the Chariot. That it may literally be a fight that the authorities have had to, or will have to, like police, or, you know, what's the right word? Like they'll have to break up or something, you know, like people might be going to jail on account of this disruption, whatever this is. Somebody could be about to get jumped, or is going to get jumped, or got jumped. I don't know where we are with this, but when I saw the Chariot, immediately I felt like this railroading energy. Like, you know, the Chariot is fierce and its momentum, it really can't be stopped. You know, it comes in like a force, like a wrecking ball type of energy. So like I said, it's like somebody could no longer hold off this angry mob with their excuses, with their you know, with their pleas, their distractions, maybe empty promises, perhaps sob stories, you know, like none of it is working to subdue this aggression to the point where law enforcement may need to intervene. That's crazy. Oh, the Empress. What's that about? The Empress? Let me see. What's on the other side of the Empress? Because this feels like a totally different world than what's going on over here. got somebody mama involved. Oh no, hold on. Let me see. What's on the other side? Or it could have been somebody's mom inserted herself to protect, as my phone goes off at 12:40, to protect their child. Let's see, what's that? Could be, Lord. It could be, but I'm seeing like a whole nother world over here, really. Like a meanwhile on the other side of town type of energy, where there's chaos going on in this corner of the world, but there's something peaceful and blissful happening over here. Let me get one more on the other end of this ace to see. Like where all hell is breaking loose in some parts. This chariot is kind of serving as like a security barrier, you know, like a security escort, even perhaps, is what I'm seeing. A guard. And the Ace of Cups is not necessarily the Ace of Pentacles, but there's definitely a sense of overflow here, abundance here, in an element that is immeasurable, actually, better than the Ace of Pentacles to a large degree, because it's vitality, which we know is a word that's been coming up a lot for me lately, especially in my oracle cards. I'm gonna get one more and then I'm gonna go down another row. Strength, yeah. There's something very grounded and stable here. Very secure and powerful love. Which is interesting. Give me a second. It just seems like a stark separation of worlds in these 6 cards alone. Why there's like scarcity and chaos over here, there's just like peace and flow and prosperity, abundance, security over here, emotional security, spiritual groundedness. Like harmony, even with, with the strength card, considering with the mind, body, and spirit is what the strength often depicts, because there's the carnal element with the lion, like the animalistic essence of humanity, but also that being tamed by this almost ethereal looking expression of humanity. So it's just like a beautiful blend going on over here. Not to mention the Emperor, who is infinitely abundant, self-controlled, extremely secure in her position of power and stature, and just so many things here. And it's like, how did we get here? When we were over here, so I don't even know what to do with that. But let's see, at 19 minutes, I'm gonna go back and come on up the line, see what we got. Wow. This was very clearly in reverse. And I'm gonna keep it that way. You know, I usually don't have too many reversals, so that flipped on the floor in this position. So it's like, I mean, we talking illusions and delusions that are just running rampant in a space, in a realm of reality, or maybe a reality within the realm. You know, it's just like people are like madness is taking over. I guess considering what I said about being in the mall, you know, it's just like for it to have been 12:46 as my phone goes off again. Hold on, let me make sure this isn't any new messages. Okay, no, we're good. 12:26 as, oh, I said that already. But as I was saying, in the mall, like how the spirit of the atmosphere was just chaotic and frantic, you know, and it's like, what is everybody in a rush for? Not to say anybody should be last minute shopping or you know, or anything necessarily, but it was just like this anxiety and eagerness in the air, you know, for it to have come so early. We talking a week before Black Friday, you know. It's like, be easy. The deals ain't going nowhere. If anything, they should get better, you know, more or less. But that was the energy I was feeling. Like people were fighting as if, you know, this was their last chance, you know, their last opportunity to get that perfect something, whatever that something is. You know, it felt weird. I don't know. I feel like there always is a connection to why I'm saying things, you know. And that could have been like the microcosm of a very macro um, um, projection, you know, of society, at least in the United States, you know, or maybe just at least in my area, I'll say, if not so um, nationally, but just this unrest, you know, and uncertainty, like not do you even know why you're in a rush or why you're shopping, like almost being under like a spell. Yeah, that's what this is. Yeah, more than just an illusion, it's like a spell, a chaos spell, chaos magic, perhaps. Oh, there's backfiring of chaos magic. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. This whole little story here of somebody's mismanagement in whatever way, shape, and form we talking about, backfiring, definitely gives way to this being in a more mystical sense. As I said, it doesn't have to be exclusive to money or finances. That it's just the energies coming, returning back to sender, you know, returning back to their creator in one way, shape, or form. And it coming back like with a vengeance. Mm-hmm. And this is the healing energy here with this Ace of Cups. Like this peace is the remedy. And it's as if some have been cut off from their supply, from their source of peace internally, if they ever had any, but whatever they typically tap into to supplement their own personal deficiencies, you know, whatever that may be, has been cut off, or they've been cut off from it. It's like this guard is creating a strong barrier between what would typically be the remedy for like a settledness and those that without it are, you know, left to their own devices, will ultimately take each other out without supervision or intervention. Let me find out. There's been some glamour. I mean, it could be backfiring, but it could also be, again, projections of some puppetry going on in dark spaces and so-called higher places, not really higher, but, you know, darker places, more or less, to possess the masses that can be possessed or can be manipulated to just kind of frantically go into this trance, so to speak. And they may or may not even realize what spells they're under. Because it's one thing the normal, you know, Christmas time magic where we all spend a little more, even if you don't necessarily subscribe to the holiday in any regard. Sometimes it's just conditionally, there's a conditional inspiration to just be a little bit more generous, even unto yourself, perhaps. But this feels like something different and darker. Like if it was upright, then I could consider that. But this feels like something that is being cast in an intensified way. And maybe it could be the backfiring. It could backfire in a way, like this could be for the purposes of encouraging folks to pretty much spend for that energy to be infused into the economy that we know rolls up to powers that don't give a damn about that don't give a damn about who they're leeching off of, you know, or using and abusing. But it feels like something more sinister than that at the core, or the fact that it was imposed at all in a more intensified way than before is what is going to ultimately kind of become something explosive. I don't know. Something weird here. Because my friend that I was talking to said something like, where she was, it was like crazy as well. And she was like, I thought we all were in agreement that we're broke this holiday, which I don't subscribe to. But, you know, it was funny. And she's not either, but it was just funny that she said that. And I was like, yeah, I was confused, you know, how everybody was just out here, you know, acting like they gotta get the deal, they gotta catch the sales. You would have imagined that the malls and stuff would be a little less crowded, you know, this time of year because of how things have been in the economy, you know. But it was the very opposite, and I saw that with my own eyes and felt it more than I saw it. King of Cups. Yeah, but look, it's cup energy though. So I feel like there's some type of emotional casting on what would otherwise be rational behavior with the King of Cups. That's somebody that's pretty well tempered emotionally. They're not going to really be too provoked by emotional impulses per se. Let me see, what else is here? What's that? Yeah, nine of swords. It popped back over, so I won't take it. But yeah, something here. I feel like the King of Cups is upright because this is representing, like I said, this casting of which people are not even aware they're under. As some horns are going off in the distance. I guess like a, I don't know what that horn is. If it's a train or if it's a boat or whatever. But something, some alert, alarm. Like they're not even aware of what work is being done psychologically to provoke some type of emotional response or impulsive reactions. And then God forbid those that don't have it to spend, what are they going to be but driven into some type of depression? You know, it's real tricky. It's real tricky out here. And then the cards aren't really speaking. Like I'm having to what was that? King of Wands. I'm having to shuffle multiple times. Yeah, and that's the action. Look at this. The damn magician. There's some hidden shit going on. There's some hidden stuff going on, man. Psychic projections and manipulations. I don't like it. I don't like how it feels. Because it's deeper and darker than what's on the table, too. And it feels so impulsive by whomever or whatever is expelling it, that the reaction or like the what's the word, like the consequence of it all was not properly calculated. Because however it was expelled, it was with the expectation for it to be you know, a benefit to whomever, you know, stands to benefit, you know, to advance one way or another, whether it's corporations, companies, leadership, whatever it is. But it feels like it's something that could be escalated in a way that won't really be able to be controlled or contained. You know, it's like inciting an angry mob. And let's go back to the beginning of what I said, but this is on a, like, consider it even on a greater scale. Someone that may have almost corrupted others to kind of fight amongst themselves for scraps, blame each other or argue amongst each other for something that ultimately was imposed by him. And then when all of those forces awaken or wise up and realize who their, you know, how their energy is misdirected, all of that is coming against this person in a way that they won't be able to really defend themselves or contain. I feel something like that on a larger scale, where the powers that so-called be the powers that were, peace to Shavi Zane, may be cooking up something. And these are unseen powers that, you know, I ain't talking about even Trump or any, you know, like it's not the regular schmegular rigmarole. These are unseen powers, maybe principalities that have intentions to kind of engage this season as a way to incite chaos and unrest and some type of maybe even delusion or psychosis, whatever it is, it's going to have an adverse effect on whomever created it. It would be like, let's say, practically speaking, a spell to have people, like I said, out here frantically buying and spending money that they do or don't have, or could do better with otherwise, only for everybody to kind of wake up like, hold up, what are we doing this for? Why are we spending that? And then all of a sudden it's just like, why? And it could happen. Maybe not that everybody would fall in line, but due to social media and the way that news and movements travel, one person could start saying something like, let's boycott big business for the holidays, make them really feel it type of energy. And that could ring a synergy and like a resonance so far and wide that the companies wouldn't even get a fraction of what they would usually get if they would just leave people to just be as they are, let alone what they were projecting to get on account of this intrusion. For people to suddenly be like, I ain't buying nothing this Christmas, or spending their money a certain type of way, but certainly not impulsively and frantically in the way that I experienced it, or in the way that is projected to do so. And the bottom line of those so-called establishments suffers a great deal. It could even be like the lead powers looking to siphon this chaotic energy from those that are kind of, going through the motions in this trance. Whether or not it rolls up or rolls down to somebody's bottom line may not be as, it might be, a plus, an added, an addition, but it could just be the siphoning of the energy of chaos to be, transfused into some other agenda, but it would be interesting if suddenly there was an awakening, or a grounding that happened that flipped the switch, or flipped the script, I should say. Where it's like, no, I'm not giving into that this year. I'm not doing that. Something like that. It ain't gonna go the way it's intended for it to go, though. And for those that do get swept up into the madness, they were destined to do so anyway. And it's really like, it's no real love lost on that account. But in terms of those that have a greater power to possess and to assert, I think it's going to be wielded in a more assaulting way than what anyone could have predicted or planned for. And honestly, that assault could really be something as simple as, again, contentment, peace with what you have, with what you want to spend, not killing yourself to make any big impressions or big statements or get the deal or take advantage of the sale, like all of that, like coming to your senses about it, and deciding that there's more to life than that, in this season, or there are more important things than that. And no shade to anybody shopping, because like I said, I'm gonna do some shopping. I got a 10-year-old, and it is what it is. It comes with the territory. But I'm definitely not doing nothing crazy. It's not in my plans at all to be going wild for the sake of having many things under the tree. It's not that this year. So I can't be manipulated in that regard. You know, I'm pretty firm on that, but I feel like there could be, you know, and content at the same time. You know what I mean? Content with that reservation, and that could be the strike against the agenda that, you know, is coming to your senses and realizing that it's just not that deep, you know, especially for those that don't even really celebrate Christmas or don't see it the same as they grew up, you know, experiencing it and things like that. It's like, what am I even doing? You know? Yeah, look at this. Attention to home matters. Again, peace at home, peace within self, within the confines of what you deem to be precious and important and special. The Empress governing her sanctuary, her safe space responsibly, you know, really nurturing self from a more centered, you know, nurturing from a more self-centered perspective. And feeling quite accomplished with that resolve is what I'm seeing with this Four of Wands. Like feeling mature almost, or feeling like evolved to say, you know, I'm good with this. I'm do my little decorations, maybe make a little meal, have a few gifts, and just enjoy really the privilege of being in such a safe space, inside out and outside in, that is separate from this, because this is not the spirit of Christmas over here. Like, that's the spirit of chaos. So, like, almost just letting gratitude be the gift this year, that not only have you survived, um, being fallen victim to certain uh, intrusions um, and projections, but that you are continuing to position yourself for sanctity. You know, this is something more long, like a more long lasting, you know, longevity type of energy over here. Like this feels very short term and very immediate gratification, you know, like microwave results, microwave gratification, where it's like we strapped in for the long haul over here. As long as I got my peace, I have security within myself first and foremost. I have hopefully and thankfully a warm roof over my head, clothes on my back, food to eat, love in my life, love in my heart, you know, like I'm healthy, I'm strong, I can move around, I can create pretty much at will, you know, bring things to life at will as I choose to. Like those are the Christmas gifts. Those are the gifts that keep on giving, as a matter of fact. Most of the stuff that I bought for my son last year, well, it's not fair for me to say that, but some of the things that I bought for my son last year didn't even really see much, you know, they didn't really go. Some things he were a staple for sure and were definitely even a good investment, but some things just like, you ain't even hardly look at that thing after Christmas or shortly after, you know. It's like still sitting somewhere collecting dust. But these are the things that are invaluable, you know, that are priceless, that are truly precious. And it feels like, you know, at least the most reasonable of us are focused in that regard. You know, maybe not, maybe, you know, initiating more of it this season, perhaps, if you haven't been already, but it being almost like a new wave of life, you know. Oh, good. We're doing good. Let me just get 2 more and I'm out of here. The Knight of Swords definitely gives like more objectivity, you know, more more intentional in this case. Loving with intention, emotions with what's the right word, with good reason, you know what I mean? Like, not, even though the Knight of Swords a lot of times can definitely be impulsive, in this case, with all of this surrounding energy, it just feels like stark intention, like very streamlined motivation toward a goal, perhaps toward understanding, maybe understanding, but being very assertive in how you feel and think, you know, not allowing yourself to really be swayed or manipulated one way or another that is not in alignment with those two things, like how you feel and how your mind and your spirit. Logical, that's the word I was trying to, like, logic with your emotionality, and really you know, being quite proactive about what makes sense in your livelihood, in your life, without it being on account of what has been kind of impressed upon you to value, is what I'm saying. Something like that. Let's see, one more. Yeah, look at this in the Nine of Cups. True wish fulfillment, true emotional fulfillment. Dare I say, happiness, definitely security. You know, I often say supreme self-esteem with the Nine of Cups alone, but then with the Strength card, it's like, you can't tell me nothing. Like, there's nothing that you can put in front of a person in this energy that would really impress them more than what they've already procured for themselves, or what they've already cultivated within themselves. Just not easily impressed or seduced otherwise. That's what I'm getting here. It's a very strong, grounded, emotional presence and reaction and response. That's definitely a capitalistic world's nightmare if you're on the corporate side of things, because they kind of need us to be impulsive. They need us to feel insecure, feel like there's always some deficit or deficiency or something that we need to feel whole. And it's like, when you in this energy, you are all that you want to be, and you have everything that you need, and you do as you desire to do for anything in between that. So that means, like, you don't necessarily have any guilt or shame about treating yourself or pampering yourself or your family, but it's not the key to your well-being. It doesn't make or break how you feel about yourself or about life. It's just added value, and more importantly, added value that actually makes sense, or that more or less can be justified. You know, it's not fluff or frivolous in this case. I mean that's subjective, so some might say differently depending on where you are. But as far as like the integrity of your lifestyle is concerned, it just makes sense. And like I said, on the other side of that, the impulse to have excess is beneficial and profitable. And what happens when that spell is um, is reversed and or broken? It's going to be some real red bottom lines, like bloody shoes, this season, perhaps. But I guess, I don't know. I don't know if that's anything that could ever be confirmed unless there's just some reports of like spending being down. But of course, that would be understandable given the economy. But regardless, you know, I feel it. I feel this sensation very strongly. And having the experience I had in the mall, it's two different worlds going on one at the same damn time. But where it may look like, you know, there's a surge of benefit in this lower frequency, I don't think it's gonna, I mean, maybe by my word as it is right now, spoken in this real time, that's something that is being broken and is going to be dispelled and reversed. All right, so anyway, let's see what's on the bottom here. Ooh, child, the Emperor. With what? Ooh, with the Seven of Swords. And what's this just peeking out? Yeah, like this, like trying to really manipulate energies to, in this, man. It's like evoking this spirit of nostalgia, like for the way holiday used to be, you know, but it's overactive. It's superimposed, you know, like it's gone too far. It's done. Look at this, the Hierophant. It's done too much. It's going to backfire. See this energy coming back? It's going to backfire. I wish I could really feel what this is, because I feel like I'm speaking about something that's, I don't know, like I feel like there's something, like I want to put my finger on something, but I don't feel like I completely have. I feel like I've kind of talked around about it, but I mean, the practical way that it may be playing out is probably true how I'm speaking of it, but it's something more here, especially now that we're seeing the Emperor and the Hierophant. There's definitely a collusion again by way of the powers that were to have it their way. I mean, maybe it's just really not all that mysterious. It's just not going down that way. Not in the projections that were calculated anyway. It's almost as if like these energies are being ran out of. Okay, so this is the energy that's being wished to siphon, that's desired to be siphoned, because siphoning this lower frequency stuff, it doesn't really yield the return as much, especially nowadays, as it used to have just a quantity of low frequency energies pouring into the machine or whatever mechanism is siphoning it for its own agenda. This is the source here. Like, this is the vitality. But this can't be tapped into. It just can't. Especially not the way that it used to. Like, you could take a little here and there, and some people, had a direct tap in, in very deceptive ways, because there was a lack of awareness of even the conditionings that we were all subscribing to or submitting ourselves to. But as I said, like with this awakening of like, nope, I'm not doing that, and kind of almost withholding such a high frequency of energy, this is where it really creates a deficiency. Because if you can't, it's like if your car needs at this point premium gas, then if you don't feed it, if you don't fuel it with premium, it's not really going to function the way that it's supposed to at the what is it? What is the word? At the damn, what's the word I'm trying to find? You know what I'm trying to say. It's not going to function in the high at the high rate that it needs to. There's a word that I just can't seem to find right now. So this is like on reserve and almost like, pardon me, exclusive or conserved. However this is, it's not easy to get to anymore. Which means that people are puttering around in this low frequency, with this low frequency gas, wondering if and or when they're going to break down completely. It's low functioning, and this is high functioning. So yeah, something like that. But anyway, I think I probably have said all that I need to say in this moment. If there's something more to be said, I'll come back and insert myself. Yeah. One second. So this energy of like fighting amongst themselves, like I said before, that's the energy that's about to roll up and backfire, or already is actually in some ways that can be seen, but it's about to be such a display of chaos amongst so-called powers that be, powers that were. Like, it's about to expose hidden powers that we never would have known about otherwise, like almost shining a light, because like I said, the fighting is coming out into the streets, it's coming out into public view. It's a knockdown, drag out melee amongst these powers, that now that there's a cutoff of resources, of which used to be highly accessible, they're left again to their own devices to duke it out, first playing the blame game between who did what wrong or why or whatever, and then eventually collectively turning on the most supreme forces that have orchestrated this madness, to turn their aggression toward. And it's just going to like a snowball into even more of a melee, because it's like the dark energies are ultimately going to do the dirty work of taking themselves out one way, or disabling each other one way or another. That's what's happening here. the ones that have been used and manipulated, like every tier of power from the highest to the lowest that's been diabolical for the most part. One will turn on the other and the other and the other until eventually, like I said, like it's like one of those duels in the street where everybody ends up killing everybody. That's where it's headed. Which will be no consequence to anyone that could stand to live without those influences and be better for it. And certainly no consequence to the divine, probably even an orchestration of the divine to just kind of sweep out those energies and kind of let the trash take out itself. Wow, okay. Well, I guess that may be something that we're not only already witnessing, even as we're seeing like Congress breaking down and stuff like that, but it's going to be on levels unseen that we get to have a glimpse at finally. You know, like the powers behind the powers are about to get exposed and taken down in a really brutal way, I would say. All right. Well, I guess we shall see. For those that are operating in peace and integrity and understanding and love overall, there's nothing to fear, nothing to be worried about. There's peace in that sanctity. So I guess we just get your popcorn, perhaps, or don't even be bothered to watch as well. Like whatever you fancy, I suppose. Whatever you fancy. All right, anyway, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Until next time, as always, I'll leave you with peace.